Welcome to Babonga's channel. If you wanna know how you can make a paper mache mannequin's head like this, stay with me until the end of this video. Let's begin. A plastic cup and a plastic bottle. Put together and secured with tape will provide the support for our mannequin's head. Use mask tape and rough lumps of crumpled newspaper to add volume to this armature. Decide the front and the back and start adding more volume accordingly. Work to bring forward the parts of your mannequin's face that are prominent.
So when you're doing this part of your mannequin face, you need to try and use your lumps of paper, it can be newspaper or any type of paper with masking tape, to make the shape of this face for Caesar. It needs to try and be like that shape.
Like the forehead, the nose, the cheekbones and chin, and also the back of the skull. Keep the nose bridge and eye area sunken. And don't forget to add more volume to the brow ridge. As you see, all it takes is newspaper and mask tape. So if you don't like an addition, you can just take it off. Now add the nose. And this is our progress so far. Let's add the ears. Take care so both are at the same level and distance from the nose. Trim to give them shape. And this completes the first stage. So far, you can decide if you like to add or remove something.
So this is when you need to check and make sure that your mannequin head looks like Caesar. So this video just shows you how to make it, but you try and make it the shape of Caesar's head. And this is what I've got so far on the front and the side view. You can see it's not perfect, but that's okay. I can add more details as I go along to make it look more like Caesar.
You have to turn this featureless, roughly shaped head into something more smooth and detailed. You can use the newspaper the same way, only you can first give it shape before adding it onto the surface of the head. Create the ears. They don't have to look very realistic or detailed. And then move on to make the eyes. Work on the eyes, having always in mind where the orbs are placed. You may add the volume gradually, like this, and smooth over, and again add some more if needed. Proceed carefully with this because you always have to keep in mind that you cannot remove anything after the piece is dry. So I am adding the upper lid, and as you see, I'm giving it shape with my fingers. Now proceed to the lower lid. Work it and make it smooth and nice, and give it whatever shape you like. Of course, you have to do the same for the other eye. Okay, so far, and now let's create a mouth. As you see, I'm shaping the pieces and secure them just with a little mask tape in the beginning. The upper and then the lower lip. You can place them, test how they look, and attach them with mask tape. Press the shapes in place, creating an image of a mouth. Next comes the chin tip. Make a ball of newspaper, place it there with mask tape, press to give it shape, check from the side, and apply paper mache.
So I got my mixture of glue. So what I did, I've got some PVA and a little bit of water so it's not too thick, and I mixed it around with my spoon. If you're at home and you haven't got the PVA, you can use the flour and water like I showed you in the video. Okay, so you can see I've started putting my paper over my bust, and I've added a little bit of detail under here as you saw in the video instruction. And I added some details to the ear. I need to add some eyes and mouth. But because we're doing Caesar, I needed to try and make sure the features were like his. So you need to be thinking about these pictures all the time. Does my bust look like this? So this is a real bust of Caesar. Now you can see this looks very difficult to make, so you might not get it exactly like this, but think about the features you see. What does his nose look like? What do his eyes look like? What does his ears look like? His hair? Think about all those things and try and recreate it. And then the next thing I need to do really is cover him and then focus on the hair, because that's not what his hair looked like. Okay, so let's do a little bit. Just gonna get some of I've got crepe paper, which is really soft paper. But newspaper works, really any type of paper works, but the thinner and softer it is, the better. Okay, so I'm going to soak it in my glue. That's probably too much, but it's okay, I can wipe off. It's very messy, so you need to be careful. And then I just need to cover a patch of my bust that is not covered yet. And I just rub it in like this. Okay. Nice and smooth. If you've got a paintbrush, I've got a paintbrush that can also be used to smooth things or to make kind of lumps, or maybe where his cheeks are or anything like that. So another way to do it, instead of soaking the paper, and if you get your paintbrush and just kind of lightly brush your mixture onto your bust, and then you can stick your paper on top of that. Not as messy, it's not as wet, and then get another little bit more on your brush, and then cover over that. That also does the job. So this is probably a less messy way to do it as well, if you want to try it that way, because it can actually rip quite easily if you do it the other way. But it's up to you how you want to do it. And like I said, soft paper is the best. Even tissue paper will work, but it's a bit harder with tissue paper because it will break very easily. Okay, so I have to keep going. I have to cover this whole thing with my paper. When it's all done, it will dry and go really hard, but I need to make sure I add my eyes, my mouth, the hair in more detail. Okay, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to finish this, and then the next time I'll show you how I've done the hair, how the mouth, how far I've gone. So you can see I've covered most of my bust. I have to do the neck still at the bottom, but if you come really close, you can see that it's not all fully, some bits are better covered than others. So this bit here isn't covered as well. So I don't have any of my mixture or my sticky glue on this one, but because all this is wet, it makes it much easier. I can just stick it on top like that, and then with my finger or with my brush, I can just go over it quickly with my sticky paste. Okay, so once you've got a layer done, it actually gets much easier to stick more on top. Okay, so next thing, last thing I really need to do is I need to add detail to the mouth, to the eyes, and I need to add Caesar's hair. So remember, he should be looking something like this. So try your best to get the features to look like this. Remember, the first part where you made the mannequin head before you started adding the detail is when really you should have gotten these shapes, but you can always add at the end to try and get the shape of his nose, his face, his eyes. So I've got my paste, and this is my glue mixed with water because it's too thick on its own, and if you're working from home you'll have your mixture using flour and water. So I did my bust, and you can see I've added some detail in the ear and the eyes and the mouth and a little bit on his hair. And how to do that carefully is, for example, if I want to add maybe another piece of hair here. So what I did, my paper, I crumpled up a piece like this, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna get it to curl kind of like this direction. So it's gonna go like that because I've tried to make his hair kind of curl at the front. So I've just got a rough piece, okay, and I'm going to put some of my paste on it. I'm gonna stick it down like this, and then with my paintbrush, cover it again like this, so I flatten it down. Now you can see it doesn't look the same, it's not as neat, it looks a bit messy, and the reason for that is I did like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate pieces just like this, and then at the end, to make it look nice, you just need one flat piece like this to cover over your design, and then you just use your paste again to flatten that down. And now you can see underneath where I put my kind of curl of hair is here, so there's a lump here. So you can see it makes it look a bit nicer rather than just having lump. You cover then with a smooth piece. So that's what I did with the eyes. I put in my features and then put a smooth piece over. Same with the lips. I made the lips and then covered it in a smooth piece. So to be really had extra real details like that, that's how you do it. You crumple your piece, stick it on, and then cover it with a smooth piece afterwards to make it look extra nice. So here is my finished bust from the side and from the front. And you're gonna have to be very creative and very resilient. It is difficult, but I know everyone can do it. So good luck year 4, and hopefully we see some amazing Caesar busts.